What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, it looks like Saul Canelo Alvarez has gotten fed up. He's sick of waiting for Miguel Cotto to agree to fight him, and he had said some stuff into the public, and I want to go over that, talk about that in the video. Canelo says this: I don't understand what's happening. I already granted Miguel Cotto a lot of things to make this fight happen. It's been more than a month and Cotto hasn't signed the contract. A Puerto Rican never ducked a Mexican fighter. Neither did a Mexican ever duck a Puerto Rican fighter. This is a classic fight for the fans. I talked with the promoter Oscar De La Hoya, and he confirmed to me that I'm fighting May 2nd, 2015. Cotto is at the top of my list. I had a lot of options, but I'm considerate of all the fans in the world. I know the fans want me to fight somebody big like Miguel Cotto. Cotto has to decide whether or not he wants to fight me. I'm not going to wait much longer. I'll let him make his decision. Hopefully, this decision won't hurt his country and all the fans that want the fight. So, Canelo, he's sick of waiting, man, and he wants this fight. He, I notice he does a little bit of slick stuff where he kind of brings the race into it. I'm not saying he's trying to start a race war, but I mean saying things like a Puerto Rican never ducked a Mexican never ducked a Puerto Rican. You already know how the fans nowadays, this day and age, are going to respond to that. There's going to be a lot of tension in the comments section, especially not even just race, but just with pro Canelo fans versus pro Cotto fans. Me personally, I like both fighters. I really like what Canelo's doing. He's very ambitious at a young age. I think I call it down the middle, man. I can't stress this enough, and I give everyone a fair shot. I gave my criticism for Canelo, and that was the fact that he was being guided along very cautiously, right, early in his career. But since Austin Trout, I mean, he stepped up, and he's facing tough fights. Austin Trout, who was undefeated at the time, just beat Cotto convincingly. He fought Floyd Mayweather, lost that fight clearly, and he came back and went in against a big puncher who I thought was probably stronger than him, and he beat the shit out of Angulo. Then he came back and fought Edeslandi Lara. Now that fight's a little bit tricky. Different people seen it different ways. I had Lara personally winning by a small margin. I thought Canelo turned it up. But the thing I like about the Lara, whether you had Lara winning like myself or Canelo winning, Canelo didn't go out like no punk. He was getting outboxed and it was looking pretty clinical at first. And he made some adjustments like fuck it. And he started tattooing Laura's body. I don't know what people saw other than that, but I thought he made Laura uncomfortable at spots, even though I picked Laura as the winner, but it was by a small margin because Canelo cranked it up. You know what I'm saying? So I respect that through and throughout over somebody like Victor Ortiz, who, when the going gets tough, versus Luis Colazo, you just sit there on your knees and get counted out. You know what I'm saying? So at least he dared to try to make the fight different, even if you had Laura winning. It was a close fight. I don't care what nobody says. People use the word robbery too loosely. I had Laura winning. I'm telling you, ego. This is my thoughts. I had Laura winning, but it was a close fight. And again, props to both. I like Edeslandi Lara as well. I'm a boxing fan. So I thought they both did good in spots, and it was a close fight. Moving on. I like Canelo's approach. His age, he's daring to be great in terms of trying to get bodies. He was trying to fight James Kirkland before this, you know what I mean? And then he was gonna fight Clottey, pulled out with the ankle thing. I don't even really want to get into that, but I don't think he was ducking in the traditional like I'm scared of Clottey, because personally I think he would have beat the shit out of Clottey. That's me. I think we would have seen Turtle Shell Clottey. Yeah, I mean, it could have been somewhat competitive, but in the end, I think Canelo. I just don't see Clottey beating Canelo either on the scorecards or knocking him out or anything like that. So that's not a fight that I was even dying to see anyway. But I like this with his approach to Miguel Cotto. He's putting the pressure on, and I'm sick of waiting. I know the fans are. I know he's sick of waiting, and I like his approach. That's all I can say, man. Because Canelo, he's an A-side type fighter too. In most negotiations, he would be considered the A-side versus Austin Trout, versus Angulo. All those fighters, he was the A-side. Lara, he was the A-side. The only ones he wasn't would be versus Mayweather and possibly versus Cotto. But he said it's been a month. He's been patient enough. I just feel like get this shit cracking. I don't want to see Mayweather versus Cotto part 2. So throw that out the fucking window. If y'all want to fight in 2016 or, you know what I'm saying, Cotto and Mayweather rematch or something, I don't care. But the fight that needs to happen this summer or Cinco de Mayo, would be Canelo Cotto in my eyes. I think that's big. They were already in talks to make this fight happen previously, and Cotto went on to fight Sergio Martinez, who was coming off an injury. But it made sense for his career because he was trying to do something for his people, for the Puerto Ricans. He was going to be the first in 4 divisions to earn titles of Puerto Rican descent. So now that you've already accomplished that, fight this boy Canelo. And he's putting the gun and the ball in your court. He's putting the gun to your head and the ball in your court. Make the fight. I like Cotto a lot. He has a far better, in my opinion, resume than Canelo, but the ball is in your court. It's 2015 now. Stop dilly and dallying with your, like, you know what I'm saying? Just decide, say, oh, I'm not fighting him so he can move on. Because, like he said, fans aren't going to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. He ain't going to wait all day. So I like Canelo's approach a lot in this, you know what I'm saying? He's being the A side, but he's been pretty patient. As patient. He said he already gave in to Cotto's demands. It's like, what are we waiting for? Get this shit cracking. What do you have more demands or what? I mean, but I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think of Canelo versus Cotto. Do you guys even want to see this? Do you prefer another fight for Canelo? I just like his fighter spirit. I can tell the kid just likes to scrap and wants to scrap, because even the Laura fight, that's not a fight he had to take. I mean, you had a guy who was calling you out for years, true, but based on the dumbass fans and the rhetoric and the boxing politics, he could have got away without fighting Laura. You know what I mean? Like, the true boxing heads would be like, okay, he ducked Laura, but business wise and in today's climate, he could have got away with that without ever having to fight Laura. You know what I'm saying? It would have been hard to live up Laura jumping on stage, but I mean, shit, we see Leo Santa Cruz and other dudes, and they're not fighting champions in their division. So trust me, he could have got away without fighting Laura, but he stepped up against his promoter's wishes, against Oscar's wishes and shit, said, I want Laura. You got to respect that. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off.